Tears of the Kingdom is out, and it's basically all many of us will be thinking about for the next few weeks, and possibly months if Breath of the Wild's expansive world is anything to go by. So with that in mind, you might struggle to concentrate on your usual RPG night, dreaming of beating up moblins and collecting Korok seeds. Luckily, you can keep the good dungeons rolling and bring Zelda into every aspect of your life, as I have 7 Zelda-like RPGs to satisfy your need to wield a sword and explore distant horizons. I'm Maddie from Dicebreaker, and these are the best Zelda-like RPGs to play release week and beyond. If your love of the Zelda games started well before Breath of the Wild, well before Link even had visible flowing hair, then this pixelated fantasy RPG is for you. Heroes of Cerulea fully embraces the retro video game and aims to bring those nostalgic feelings to the tabletop. The world faces a fight between good and evil, with you taking over from the Lost Guardian and Paragon to fight the Shadow King. Along the way, you'll explore dungeons, fight monsters, and collect items, all in the name of saving the world. Not only is the setting and story reminiscent of classic NES games and beyond, the mechanics replicate the feel of playing too. Players can collect keys during their journey, but once they've used them in a lock, they disappear. Likewise, if you smash a random pot, you'll be rewarded with gold. Oh, video game logic, how I love you. Both players and monsters have hearts that can be depleted with attacks, whittling down 1 mark each time, so it's even visually like playing a Zelda game. And I have to generally mention visuals because Heroes of Cerulea has gorgeous pixel art to bring the world, maps, characters, and fearsome monsters to life. It really feels like it could be a lost entry in the Zelda series, one you can play with friends and where you get to decide what happens next in the fight between good and evil. And that will likely be a get-rich-quick scheme involving pots. Become a Titan Hunter in a world of colossal beings as you forge a better future for humanity in Relic. You and the heroes you play with will explore the untamed wilds of Windfall, battle through the war-torn wastes of 3 nations, and for all you Wind Waker fans out there, can even explore the Sea of Stars archipelago. It's not classic Zelda-like dungeoneering, but it definitely taps into the open world excitement of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Over 3 books, Relic aims to provide a fleshed out map that allows players to dive straight in for more action. The main difference in the games, however, are the Titans. These huge creatures roam the lands and must be stopped. It draws heavily from other video games such as Shadow of the Colossus and Monster Hunter as you track and battle these vast monsters. However, you won't be facing these beasts alone, don't worry, because besides your heroes, you'll be able to pick up talismans during your journey. These range from powerful items to pets and new abilities, so much like Zelda, you'll need to explore before you go for the big boss. Relic draws inspiration from many different games and films, Zelda being just one of them. So take your passion for adventure you're used to and apply it to somewhere new. After all, your time in Hyrule can't last forever. It might be time to set your sights to a new horizon. There's no denying the inspirations behind this RPG, as it literally has Zelda in the title. The Legend of Zelda: Reclaim the Wild is an RPG made by dedicated Zelda fans wanting to bring the experience to everyone's tables and is totally free. Originally inspired by Breath of the Wild, it aims to be a tool set to continue your adventures in the game beyond your Switch. Character creation is flexible, allowing you to become the hero you want to beyond a small blonde guy, and it provides a number of mechanics to fill out your big open world for them to explore. Inclement weather means the world is ever-changing. Dangerous terrain means you might find yourself falling off a slippery cliff. Traps, dungeons, and monsters are around every hill, of course. Plus, you can design your very own Zelda-inspired monsters to craft some truly memorable bosses. And of course, there's a crafting system, which all of us eagerly enjoying Tears of the Kingdom will especially enjoy. Players can customize weapons, armor, and food to prepare for any given situation. So yes, you can still gobble up weird concoctions of lizard pieces and mushrooms you found under a tree. Reclaim the Wild is the perfect game to have ready and waiting for you when you inevitably finish Tears of the Kingdom and crave more world to explore and more adventures to go on. Forgotten Ballad is an RPG all about exploring ancient ruins nestled in troubled landscapes, about freeing ancient cursed guardians from these places, and picking up magical songs along the way. You play as an adventurer from a humble background who sets out to make the world a better place by facing the evil that has twisted the world. Every dungeon holding a spirit corrupts the world around it, from weather to geography. Luckily, with some trusty items in your hand, you can face anything, or at least try and then gobble up food to restore those lost hearts and try again. Forgotten Ballad puts a lot of thought into dungeon design, which is an essential for any of you classic Zelda fans, with themes, magic, and more bringing each of them to life. They all have keys to collect to open new areas, are populated with monsters like the Batsy and Wizdo, which might remind you of a certain Keese and Wizrobes, and like Breath of the Wild, the items you find here are an essential part of play, with a careful inventory management system to store all the rope, keys, candles, bombs, boomerangs, and more that might aid you as you explore. Because why bother wasting hearts on a fight with a little Beblin when you could throw a bomb in there, flood the dungeon room, or use a song to cast a little magic? Forgotten Ballad has a preview available now, but is currently crowdfunding over on Kickstarter to bring a full set of rules, character creation, and even a cool-looking adventure filled with some lovely art. So, get ready to step into your next favourite dungeon with Forgotten Ballad. The door looks behind you is a chance to build your own world to explore, dungeon to fight through, and evil tyrant to defeat, all inspired by the Legend of Zelda series. You start any campaign with a dark force at work. Perhaps they increase monster attacks in the world, flood coastal communities, or even draw the moon ever closer to Earth. Their presence is a constant threat, driving players forward as they explore each new region, eventually culminating with a big fight at the end of a winding dungeon. Because, of course, where else would a tyrant be? Along the way, players can enjoy many Zelda-esque mechanics to immerse themselves in the world. Items have limited durability, meaning you often need to think beyond always just swinging your sword. Food is able to heal you, but a plain apple restores less hearts than a hearty cooked sandwich, so you'll still have time to sit by a fire and do your favourite crafting. And if you want even more similarities, then you'll love the elemental magic items and monsters. How lightning interacts with water and fire with grass are all things to keep in mind. I also have to specifically shout out the monster creator system, as it's a really fun set of tables that allow you to get really creative. Plus, you could just use it to bring a moblin or Lionel over if your players want Breath of the Wild, but more. The door locks behind you feels very much like the chance to write your own Zelda title. When you're done with Tears of the Kingdom, of course. If you love video games and anime in general beyond the Zelda series, you're going to want to check out Break. Like Breath of the Wild, the world of Break is a post-apocalyptic setting far in the future where life has grown anew amongst the remnants of past civilizations, where old empty cities crumble to dust and constructs of a long-forgotten war roam the wilds. You and your friends take on the role of adventurers brave enough to traverse the vast world, helping others or delving for treasures as you go. You can play a weird and wonderful selection of classes and races, like the classic roguish sneaks to a battle princess, and no reward for guessing what I'll be playing, as well as all your favourite elves, goblins, and even a human pulled from their world into this one. Then there are pets to tame, mounts to ride, downtime activities like crafting, and of course, many monsters to fight with magic items to discover. There's even a particularly familiar looking foe you might encounter. It may take the fantasy of a Zelda game and push it a little further at times, but a lot of the reasons you love playing through Link's adventures can be translated into the well thought out mechanics of Break. So, if you're hankering for more adventures after Tears of the Kingdom, love the weirder side of the series, and often fantasize about a Zelda anime, Break is the RPG for you. And finally, for those that want to continue their Zelda adventures alone, how about a solo RPG? There are so many great fantasy ones out there, but I had to pick Colostle as my recommendation. This is a journaling game about exploring a vast castle. One so big that entire oceans sit in its rooms. Cities look tiny compared to the vast doorways, and the roof stretches beyond vision into the clouds. So technically, it's all one giant dungeon, which is very Zelda. But I promise that's not my only link. Colostle sees you start out as a lone wanderer, heading out to explore, forge your own destiny, and hopefully help people along the way. Link is all too familiar with starting out as a regular guy and finding greatness beyond his village. Plus, the artwork feels very reminiscent of Breath of the Wild. The vast expanses to explore with remnants of a lost civilization peeking through feels just as inviting as those first steps into the Great Plateau. And like the guardians you're used to fighting, there are shambling mechanical beings that amble the wilderness here too, and they can be just as deadly. Colostle may not have dungeons to explore or a vast bestiary, but for anyone who spends their time in Zelda chatting to villagers, exploring every corner of the world and picking up items along the way, it might be your perfect game. Plus, the freedom of a solo journaling game means you can decide how to interpret each prompt. You could say that one of the towns has fish like Zora in it, or whatever you fancy. So no matter how you play, if you're craving more exploration and open world adventures post-Zelda, then grab Colostle and a notebook to start your journey. So those are 7 games inspired by Zelda you should check out if Tears of the Kingdom has got you thinking about nothing else. Let us know which tabletop games you enjoy to bring a little more Moblin magic into your playing in the comments below. And if you enjoyed, give this video a like and subscribe for more videos to discover your next favourite RPG. You can also head over to dicebreaker.com where we cover daily news and updates across the world of tabletop, or go to dicebreaker.com/subscribe to join our subscription program where you get discounts on things like tickets to events, local game stores, and if you sign up for a year, an entire free board game, which, you know, what's not to love? But until the next time, I hope you have a lovely day.